For this video, I'm going to go into translating verbal phrases into expressions. And then eventually, sometime this week, we'll get to changing word problems into equations and then solving them. But we'll start off with the basics. So we're just going to start off with some keywords that indicate an operation in math: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and also equals. So we'll start off with addition. And when I say verbal phrases, guys, I'm talking about those that look like this: 8 more than some number, 1/4 of a number is 12, 2 more than 4 times some number. Those are what we call verbal phrases, okay? We're going to translate them or write them as equations or algebraic expressions. But again, let's go back and look at some keywords that indicate addition. If you see added to, say for instance, I have 3 added to 5. It says to write it backwards because if you add 3 to 5, the 5 has to exist first. If you do this is 5 added to 3, but this says 3 added to 5. So although we see the 3 first, we want to make sure we add 3 to the 5, write the 5 first, and then add 3 to it. This is 3 added to a 5. So that's why we write it backwards. Added to means write it backwards. Okay? All right, if you see sum of or sum means to add. Of course, we all know plus means to add. More than is also another one you have to write backwards, and I have it highlighted, added to and more than. If I have, let's see, if I ask you what is 3 more than 2? What is 3 more than 2? Of course, you would tell me the answer is 5, okay? But at first, to figure out what is 3 more than 2, you would have to go to 2 first and then tell me 3 more than that would be 1, 2. 3 more than that would be 3, 4, and 5. So you would have to go to the 2 first and then add 3. So 3 more than 2 is 5. So if it has more than, you write it backwards as well. So I wouldn't write 3 plus 2. I would write, in this case, 2 plus 3. Write it backwards. 3 more than 2, write it backwards if it's got than in it. I'll just tell you something simple to remember. If you see a to phrase, a than phrase, and I'm also going to put one more in here. From, if you see added to, more than, or subtracted from, or even like less than, it's got than in it. If it has than, to, or from, those are normally the ones we write backwards. We don't write them the way we see them or read them from left to right. So I'm going to make a little note somewhere. Than, to, or what I call from statements. We want to make sure that we write those backwards. In other words, write them not left to right, but right to left, okay? Let me erase that. Still on addition, guys. Increase by means to add. Totals or total, it can just be singular. Total means to add. If you combine something, it means add. So you need to familiarize yourself with these keywords. Of course, you'll have this chart in your notes. You can always look back at it, but you won't have it on the test. So before the test, you need to make sure you understand what these words mean. All right, let's take a look at subtracted from. Trying to get rid of that. Okay, and I'm going to talk about why we write subtracted from backwards. If I ask you what is 5 subtracted from 12? What is 5 subtracted from 12? So over here I have 12. If I want to know what 5 subtracted from 12 is, at first, I have to go to 12. So I have to have 12 first. And then I can subtract 5 from it. I can't subtract 5 from 12 if I don't have the 12 first. So subtracting 12 from 5 means I go left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, that puts me at 7. But I have to have 12 first before I can subtract 5 from it. I can't subtract $5 from your $12 if you don't have your $12 first. So, and it should say subtracted from, guys. I apologize. It's got to have from in it, okay? What is 5 subtracted from 12? So if you see subtracted from, again, do 12 minus 5 in this example, or whatever it is. Don't write it from left to right. Don't write it like you're reading a book. If you see subtracted from, write the right part of it first, and then like you have 5 and 12. 5 is on the left, and 12 is on the right. But what you would do is make sure you wrote the right part first, and then subtracted the left one. Okay, that's why I said if you have than, to, or from statements, just an indication you're going to write it backwards. So instead of writing it from left to right, you're going to write it from right to left, guys. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, pause the video and call me over and say, Ms. Blue, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'll help you, okay? All right, we're still on subtraction. Difference of, I find the difference of two things I'm subtracting. Of course, if you see minus or subtract, those are giveaways. Less than, you please make sure you write it backwards, okay? Please, please, please. It's got than in it. Write it backwards. If I ask you what is 3 less than 7, you don't want to write 3 minus 7. Everybody knows 3 less than 7 is 4, okay? But if you write 3 minus 7, you get -4, guys. The appropriate thing to write is 7 minus 3, which does give you that 4. That's because with a than statement, we want to make sure we write it backwards, okay? In order to have 3 less than 7, the 7 must exist first. Make sure you're making little notes, okay? Again, the easiest way to remember this is using this right here. Than, to, or from statements, right backwards. All right. Decrease by means subtract. Less is not less than. Less you subtract from left to right, just like you read a book. Less than you subtract from right to left. In other words, you subtract it backwards, okay? But less is not like that. Just less without the than. Just write it the way you see it. Something that remains, that's indicates subtraction. All right, let's talk about multiplication. Simple, simple, simple. Multiply by. Product means the answer you get after you multiply two numbers or some numbers. Times, of course, means multiplication. I will talk about double. Double means you multiply by 2. Triple means you multiply by 3. Quadruple means you multiply by 4. Now, I really want to talk about, let's go down to twice. Twice means you multiply by 2. But I want to talk about of. So keyword to of means multiply if percent is attached to it or fraction is attached to it. So for of to mean multiply, you got to have percent of or fraction of. And that indicates that you multiply. So if I ask you what is 2/3 of 12, it just means 2/3 times 12 because 2/3 is a fraction. So it's a fraction of. Okay, so that means multiply. We end up with 24 over 3, which is 8, guys. Okay, so it may not have the word fraction, but it may have fraction, a actual fraction in front of the word of. Basically, when you're finding a percent or a fraction, you're asked to find a percent or a fraction of another number. Then I need you to multiply. If I want to find 10% of 50, there's a percent and then there's of. You just multiply 0.10 times 50, and that will give you 5, guys. But of course, it has to have a percent or a fraction in front of in order for it to mean multiply. Now watch some people zone out on me and not know that. All right, let's take a look at division. Divided by, giveaway. To find a quotient, that means you're dividing. Divided into. If you're finding a ratio, it means divide. Per or each normally means divide. Some cases it means multiply, but we're going to say for these cases I'm going to give you, it's going to mean divide, okay? If things are separated into parts, it means divide. Now these are things you're not, maybe not used to. Equals. If something results in something, that means it's equal to it. Of course, equals means equals, guys. These are the big ones you're going to see. Is or was. Is, if you see the word is or was, it can mean equal. Yields is equal. Is the same as is equal. Is equivalent to is equal. All these mean equal, okay? All right, so you just need to make sure you learn what each of these mean, because you can't use the chart on the test. But we're going to do so much practice that you should get it, okay? All right, so after we go through the keywords, the next thing to do is just to be able to translate some of these phrases into expressions, all right? All right, so key thing here, any unknown quantity should always be written as a variable. Now, I don't care what variable you use. I usually stick with X, but you can use whatever you want to. I don't care. Just choose a letter and use it for something that we don't know. So if you see something like some number or a number, we don't know it. So we'll write it as a variable, okay? All right, another important thing. Write what you see. In other words, when I say write what you see, you're going to write it from left. Come on, from left to right, just like you're reading a book. But there's an unless part. Unless, okay, let me change my color. Unless there's a turnaround phrase. Now, what do I mean by turnaround phrase? Okay, so I'm going to show you what I mean by turnaround phrase. That means what tells you to write it backwards. So I'm going to go back to this. Than, to, or from statements. Write it backwards. Those would be my turnaround phrases. If you see than or to, added to, or something like subtracted from, those are turnaround phrases, okay? Switch it around. Don't do left to right. Do right to left. All right, we're actually going to get into some examples. I'm going to circle the operation of the words. I'm going to circle what means add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Whatever word tells me, I'll circle it. I'm going to underline the unknown because the unknown gets represented with a variable. Now, you don't have to do this. I did this more so for my students who struggled on this. It helped them to kind of chunk things or separate them. We're going to box in any expression indicating that there's an equation, okay? Something that means equals. We'll box that in, and then we're going to write the expression or equation. Some of these are going to be expressions. Some of them are going to be equations, guys. So let's take a look at number 1. We're going to take this written phrase and change it to an expression or an equation. So it has 8 more than some number. All right, it says, number 1, we're going to circle the operation. So I'm going to Circle the operation. And that means plus. Because more than means plus. It's up here. There you go. It means plus. Add. And then 2, it says underline. Let me underline. Underline the unknown. Well, I don't know this. We represent it with a variable. I'm going to call it x. 3 says box in any expression that means equal. Well, there's nothing in here that means equal, so I don't worry about boxing anything in. 4 tells me, well, this, not 4. Before I go to 4, it says, write what you see unless there's a turnaround phrase. Than, to, or from. Oh, there's than. Okay, I see some turnaround phrase right there. So normally I would write 8 plus x, but there's a turnaround phrase in it. So instead of 8 plus x, instead of writing it from left to right like I see it, that's left to right, I'm going to write it from right to left. Okay? Got a turnaround phrase in it. So this is going to be x plus 8. That's it. And it's an expression, not an equation, guys. An equation will have an equal sign. All right. 2 1/4 of. Well, 1/4 is a fraction. And it's a fraction of. So I already know that means multiply. Okay. And then a number. Well, I don't know. I don't know what that number is. 1/4 of a number is 12. So that's going to be my variable. All right. And it says box in any expression that means equal. So is means equal. Here it is right here. Is equal. Okay. And it equals to 12. All right. So I don't see a turnaround phrase in it. So I'm going to write the expression without worrying about turning anything around. So 1/4 x, match it together because that's what mash together means in math. That means multiplication. And then, so I got 1/4 of a number, 1/4 x. Then my box in is equal, and then I see the number 12. I just go from left to right. That's it. Now this is an equation because it has an equal sign in it. Let me erase this. All right, number 3 says 2 more than 4 times some number. Okay, well, more than means plus, times means multiply. I'm going to use a little dot for multiplication. Okay, I have 2 operations, all right? And then some number, I don't know what it is. We'll put a variable x. Of course, I stick to x. Are there any turnaround phrases in it? Let's look for any turnaround phrases where there's than. Is there anything that means equal in here? Nope. 2 doesn't mean equal. More than doesn't mean equal. 4 is a number. Times doesn't mean equal. Some number we know is the variable. So this is going to be an expression. I know that. Won't have an equal sign in it. All right, I'm going to turn this thing around. So I will not be writing 2 plus 4 times some number. Normally, if it didn't have the than in it, I could write 2 plus 4 times a number. But what I'm going to do is write it backwards. So in writing 2, instead of writing 2 plus 4x, I'm going to write 4x plus 2. In other words, I'm going to write this side of than first. On this side of the plus is 4 times a number. So I write all of that. So I write it from right. I write what's on the right side of than. I always go to the turnaround statement, the turnaround word, and write what's on the right side of that turnaround word. The turnaround word is than. Just like right here, the turnaround word was than. So on the right side of this was some number. So that's why I was able to write the x first. But on the right side of than is 4 times some number. So I got to write all of 4x. 4 times x. I'm going to match it together. I could have done this. Or I could have done this. All that means multiply, okay? But I choose to match it together because it also means multiply. 4 times some number. And then I go over here. After I write what's on the right side of than, I go over here to what's on the left side of than and write it. So I write it from right to left. What's on the left side is 2. There you go. Put your 2. And that's your expression. So instead of 2 plus 4x, it's 4x plus 2, all because of the word then. I flip it around. All right. Less than means subtract some number is my variable. Is means equal. So now the equal sign, I already know this thing is going to equal to 16. You can go ahead and write that, because now I know this is going to be an equation because I got something that means equal. But the question is, what goes over here? So what goes over here is all of this. Let me undo that. Okay, I'm trying to get it to color code the way I want it. It's not allowing me to do it. Let me see. Now I got erasers. Okay. It just won't do. Okay. So I'm looking at this side of is. Okay. So everything over here that I shaded in purple finally worked. Goes right here. Now the equal to 16 kind of like stays where it is. Equal to 16. There it goes. I just need to worry about what's over here. Let me erase this so I have more room. Erase, please. My goodness. So again, I just need to worry about what's over here, guys. Just on the left side of is. All right, because the is on this side is 16. I'm worried about how to write what's on the left side. The left side is the part of the equal sign. Left side of equal sign. All right, so on the left side of the equal sign, it's got that than phrase in it, that turnaround word. So instead of writing 8 minus x, instead of writing 8 minus x, I turn it around because it's got than in it, and I write x minus 8. Let me do that in red. I'll do it in black. It looks better. But the than is what made me not write the 8 first and the x. So on this side of than is some number. So I write it from right to left if it has a turnaround rate word in it. So instead of 8 minus x, it's x minus 8, all because of that turnaround word than. And again, I'm only going to focus on the left side of the equal sign because some students would think you write the whole thing backwards, like you write 16 first. And then you write x minus 8, which you can. I don't care what side of the equal sign you put 16 on. It can be on the left side or it can be on the right side. But I definitely need you to write this backwards. And I don't need you to write 8 minus x. I need you to write x minus 8. The side that you put the 16 on is irrelevant. Okay, the side of the equal sign that you put it on. Because 16 is completely on the opposite side of the part I need to turn around. All right, let's take a look at number 5. All right, less than means minus. Product means we're going to multiply. Use a little dot for multiplication. But we're not multiplying one number, we're multiplying two. So I'm going to call it x and y. I don't care what two variables you pick. I don't know. Just pick something. 2 variables because it's 2 of them. Had it said 3 numbers, I could have used x, y, and z or ABC. I don't care. All right, but it's got than in it, guys. It's got a turnaround phrase in it. And it doesn't have anything that indicates I need to write an equal sign. So what I'm going to do is write what's on the right side of than first. On the right side of than is the product of these 2 numbers. So how would I write the product of x and y? Well, mash them together. And you can put a dot between them. You could have used parentheses. I don't care. But I prefer just to mash them together. Okay? And then less than, go backwards. Write it backwards now. Okay? Because of the than. So after I get the right side written, I'm going to go over here and write what's on the left side of than, which is 5. Minus 5. That's all you do. So instead of 5 minus xy, it's xy minus 5. That's all you do. All right, let's take a look at 6. Okay, we got 25% of. Oh, I got a percent of, which means I need to multiply. And some number is my x yields is equal. So I know this thing is going to equal to 50. It's going to equal to 50, guys. I'm looking for a turnaround phrase. Don't see anything over here. Look over here on this side. Do you see a turnaround phrase? Nope, no turnaround phrase on the left side of the equal. So I just write what I see. But anytime you have a percent, please change it to a decimal. To change a percent to a decimal, you just drop the percent and move the decimal 2 places to the left, excuse me. The decimal, you don't see it in the numbers at the end, 2 places to the left. So 0.25. All right. And means multiply with some number, and it equals 50. I'm going to write that a little closer. Yeah, that looks better. All right, let's take a look at number 7. Hold on 1 second, guys. Y'all pause the video and try number 7 on your own. All right, sorry about that. All right, this is what you should have gotten for number 7. Less than, I don't want that. Less than means subtract, times means you're going to multiply. Some number is your x, equals is equal. So I know this thing is going to equal to 65. Go ahead and write that. There is a turnaround phrase in it. Than is a turnaround phrase. So on the right side of than, I have the expression 3 times some number. Well, that's going to be 3 times x. 3 times x. And then you just go backwards. Minus 7. So normally our eyes tell us to write 7 minus 3 times x, but it's got than in it. So we're going to write 3 times x minus 7. All right, 8 is a tad bit tricky. Please pay attention. So before I even go over number 8, I'm going to just throw some things at you, okay? What is 3 times the sum of 2 and 7? So I gotta figure out what 3 times this is. Okay. Well, first of all, if I'm trying to figure out what 3 times this stuff is, I need to figure out this stuff first. I need that stuff first. I need to find the sum of 2 and 7 first. Well, I know the sum of 2 and 7 is 9. And then secondly, I get to multiply 3 times that sum. And so 3 times 9 is 27. So what I'm trying to tell you is if you're multiplying the sum, oh, one more thing. What is 5 times the difference of 10 and 8? Well, I'm trying to figure out what 5 times this stuff is. 5 times the difference of 10 and 8. Well, the first thing you got to do is find the difference of 10 and 8, which is simply 2. And once you find the difference of 10 and 8, then you can multiply that difference by 5. So 5 times the difference of 10 and 8, or 5 times 2, is 10. So what I'm trying to show you here is that when you're multiplying a sum or a difference, come on, highlighter. I don't guess I'm gonna get it to come up. Okay, I'm gonna have to use it this way. When you're multiplying a sum or a difference by 5, or you multiplying this sum by 3, whatever, it doesn't matter. It could be twice the sum, 4 times the sum, twice the difference, 5 times the difference, 6 times the difference. I don't care. So like when you multiply a sum by some number or a difference by some number, I need you to put that sum or that difference inside of parentheses first to indicate that we're going to do this first. The parentheses will indicate we will do it first. And then we multiply by 3, or then we multiply by 5. But we got to use order of operations. So to indicate that you're going to add before you multiply, please use parentheses. Now that's very different from number 8. Number 8, it's 3 times a number. Here is 3 times the sum. So again, when you're multiplying by a number by the sum by some number, please put that sum inside of parentheses. Or if you're multiplying a difference by a number, please put that difference in parentheses. And whatever you're multiplying by goes out here. The number you're multiplying by goes out here. But again, it's different from number 7. On number 7, it's not 3 times some sum or difference. It's just straight to 3 times some number. So that's why I don't have to use parentheses. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, pause the video and let me know. Right, I'm going to erase this. So with that being said, it says 3 times the sum. Now I'm multiplying 3 by the sum of something, okay? Sum does mean I'm going to add, but I need to multiply 3 by the sum of something. Put that sum inside of parentheses. It's not 3 times some number. It's 3 times the sum of a number, which I'm going to call x, and 18. So I'm going to put x and 18 inside of parentheses, and I'm going to sum them. Sum means I'm just going to add x and 18. I'm going to add what? X and 18, okay? Then I can multiply that sum by 3. There you go. That's 3 times the sum of x and 18, which is going to give you 3x plus 54 if you use the distributive property. And let's take a look at some of these. These are practice. Really, you're supposed to do these on your own and then watch the video or converse with someone else and see if you got the same thing. So you all do me a favor. Can you all work, and you have this sheet, work on 1 through 14 for me, translating these into expressions or equations. You pause the video, work on 1 through 14, see how you do on your own, and then unpause the video to see if you get them correct, okay? Or you can speak with a peer before you unpause the video to see if you're coming up with the same thing. I don't mind if you work with somebody in class while you're trying to figure it out as well. You don't have to do it on your own. You can kind of try it on your own, and then if you don't understand it, immediately talk to somebody. And then y'all unpause the video after you get finished with all 14. Or you can do it one by one. You can try number 1 with a peer, unpause the video, check it. Try number 2, unpause the video, check it. Try number 3, unpause the video, check it. That will probably be better. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to pause the video first. All right, let's take a look at 1. This is what you should have gotten. Sum means we're going to add. A number is x. There's no turnaround phrase. So I'm just going to add a number and 10. Excuse me. I'm going to add a number and 10. So that's x plus 10. X plus 10. I don't know where 8 is coming from. You add what? Add X and 10. That's it. X plus 10. All right, the difference between 5 and a number, okay, is no turnaround phrases in there. That's going to be X. Basically, that's the difference, which means I'm going to subtract. I'm going to subtract what? 5 and X. No turnaround phrases, so you just kind of write what you see from left to right. Less than is minus. It's got a turnaround phrase in it. Product means you're going to multiply. I don't want to put the X for times. I'm going to use the dot. The number is X. There's no equal in there. There's a turnaround phrase, so I'm going to write this side first. I'm going to write what's on the right side of then first, okay? All of this. I get to write it first. So the product of X and 7, I'm going to write it as 7X. You could have done X times 7, but I tend to write my coefficient before the variable because that's the way it's normally written in math. But X times 7 is sufficient. Less than, go backwards now. You got this side written now, right? Minus 6, and you're done. All right, more than on number 4 means add. A number is X. There's no equal sign, and there is a turnaround phrase in it, and it's than. So don't write 18 plus X. Please turn it around and write X plus 18 for me. 5 times a number. What times means multiply. A number is X. Is 75. Is means equal. This is going to be equations equal to 75. And I just need to write 5 times X. I'm going to mash it together. That's 5 times X equals 75. 6 is a number divided by 14 is 16. A number is X divided by means divide. Equals means equal. So it's going to equal to 16. So I just need to take X and divide it by 14. You can write it that way, or you can write it with the division symbol. I don't care. Same thing. 7, 5 more than a number. More than means plus. A number is X. There's a turnaround phrase, but there's nothing that means equal. So because there's a turnaround phrase or word, please don't write 5 plus X. Put X plus 5. Just turn it around and go that way. All right, 8, the sum of a number. Sum means we're going to add some things. Add a number and what? Add a number and 12. And it's going to equal 16. So this is going to be an equation. It's going to equal 16. What am I adding? I'm adding a number and 12 together. That's it. No turnaround phrases in there. 9 is 16 less than. Less than means subtract. Twice means we're going to multiply by 2. A number is X, whatever variable you want it to be, really. And there's a turnaround word, than. So I'm going to write what's on this side first. On this side of than is twice a number. So I'm going to put 2X. And then I go backwards. Minus 16. And that is all you do. 10, 2/3 of. There's a fraction in the word of. It means you're going to multiply and a number. I'm going to call it X. So I'm just going to multiply 2/3 and X. I'm going to mash it together, and that's all I do. 11 divided by means divided by. Means divide. A number is X. Is means equal. This is the equation, and I know will equal 5. So I just need to worry about this side. So how do I write 5 divided by X? Well, you can do it this way, or you can do it this way. That's it. No turnaround phrases, so write it like you read a book, left to right. I see 5 first, write 5. Then divide it, then X. All right, 12, 6 less than 3 times a number. That means minus. That means times. The number is x. There is nothing to indicate that there's an equation there. No equal sign, but there is a turnaround word, than. So I'm going to write what is on this side of than first, which is 3 times a number. I'm going to match it together. That's 3 times some variable x. I don't know. Then I'm going to go to the left and write minus and 6. So instead of 6 minus 3 times x, because it has a turnaround word, 3 times x minus 6. All right, let's take a look at 13. The difference of a number. Okay, difference means I'm going to subtract a number. Means I have x. So it's the difference of, I'm going to subtract what? X and 8. Okay, divided by means divided by. And then 10, okay? So I need to find this first. I need to calculate the difference of x and 8, and then I'll take that and divide it by 10. So I'm going to take difference of x and 8 and divide it by 10. That whole difference, guys, that whole difference is divided by 10. So if you write it like this, please put it in parentheses, because this is this whole difference. This is the difference divided by 8, okay? Show me that difference first, and then we can divide by 8. Now, if you write it like this, then I can see clearly that that whole difference is not divided by 8, divided by 10. But again, if you write it like this, clearly I can see that that whole difference is being divided by 10. 14, I have a percent of. That means I'm going to multiply of a number. I'm going to call it x. But again, drop the percent and move the decimal 1, 2 places to the left to change it to a regular number. And just multiply. That's 45% of a number, or 45% x. All right, there's a second video for the remaining part of the notes. So it's like 11 or 12 minutes. Y'all watch that and take notes, and then you'll have to finish your homework. But it's really going to be classwork because you have Monday and Tuesday. So you can watch some of the video today in class or at home. But you don't have to have it finished until tomorrow midnight, okay? The video with the homework. Thank you.